Hi guys, and welcome to part 6 of the Ultimate Guide to Dark Souls 2, and today we are doing Huntsman's Copse.
Now, just before we go any further into this, if you haven't went to Head City, you need to go there, beat Dragon Rider and exhaust Lycia's dialogue above the Dragon Rider so you can even access the Rotunda.
Yeah.
So make sure you do that. If you don't know what we're talking about, go back to part 3 of the guide and watch how we do Head City. But it costs you 2,000 souls.
So make sure you have 2,000 souls before you come
If
here.
you don't, you can just farm them from the last area anyway. Just go to the Bastille, kill a couple of the jailers and you're fine.
Or I mean, if you really want to, you can kill her and she'll drop the Rotunda Lockstone.
She is difficult.
We don't want to kill. She is difficult, and we don't want to kill her because, you know, she's a useful NPC and she's got a quest that we want to complete.
But anyway, so proceeding on now. This is treacherous. This little part here. This has killed me several times.
Has it?
Yes, I've died here. No, it's killed me once actually, because while running up here I looked at chat while we were streaming. And yeah, chat gets you killed.
Apparently.
So the first NPC we're coming up to is just going to be up here on the right. It's Felkin. Almost killed me there. This is Felkin. Now to talk to Felkin you need 8 int and 8 faith. So we're going to come back to him later on in the guide.
But to quickly touch on him,
if you kill him now.
If you kill him, he'll drop the Sunset Staff. He's a Melentia-able NPC.
Which means you can buy the full Hexel set from Melentia once he's dead.
Yeah. However, if you talk to him while you've got 20 int and 20 faith, he'll give you all of his equipment.
He'll give you
the staff and
the Hexer set, yeah. So that's more beneficial if you're going to Hexer build, due to the fact that he is like a very good source for your like early hexes.
Yeah, he does sell good hexes and shit. But again, we will cover him in more detail in a later video.
So these butterflies can be a pain in the ass. They drop moss, to put it quite simple. And we did miss an enemy, so we'll get the drops for that right now. It was the Captive Undead. We missed, we didn't get a chance to tell who that was. So they drop the Prisoner's Set, Life Gem, they can drop torches, the Broken Straight Sword, and they can drop blue, yellow and orange burrs, as well as poison knives.
And life gems as well.
And life gems as well?
Yeah.
That's something you didn't write on this. Oh no, you did life gems is the second thing I covered. Regardless. So now this bit here, the strategy for this bit, there's a few rogues in here. So we're going to do this, then we'll tell you what they drop. You want to run in and then run back out so you can take this guy on a 1v1. And there's a rogue behind a door dead ahead. Now you use this method, it works. Go straight into the right and then just run past the door and he won't even hit you. If you try to break the door yourself, he'll hit you through the door and you can get stun locked by him and the archers. So just be mindful of that.
Now there's other items in that area, but we'll come back to getting the rest of them.
So be careful of this guy because he'll do the jump attack, but you've got the longsword which is OP as hell.
Yeah, exactly. So remember to pick up this item here.
Cracked orbs.
Now that may or may not be helpful to a later NPC in... You know.
And kick this branch down because, I mean, it is a shortcut back to Felkin. If you end up getting the intelligence and faith at this point, you can go back to Felkin.
The issue is that generally that shortcut is completely redundant because you can warp anywhere you want. Now, we're going to go back this way through that place we're just at.
Yeah, because it all loops back around to where we were in the beginning.
So this is just like a quicker way of doing it. You'll see that you can just go back from where you were, but you know, just to save time.
This is where a bow will be handy because there will be a few of these like butterflies hanging about, and like when they go when they drop that green shit all over you, that poisons you. Yeah. So you just want to make sure you don't get poisoned by it.
To get down to the bottom, you want to roll onto these big mushrooms here. Now you can use your bow here and take down this enemy if you want.
These guys are generally easy. These are the torturers from what they're labelled as in game. As you can see here, we get poisoned because there is one on the bridge up top. Now the torturers, if I can just find the drops here. Torturers, they drop cracked red eye orbs and they do have a chance to drop the bloodied whip if they are using the whip. But of course you run into the whip ones later on in game. But of course that item there may not show up on your screen because that was a drop from the butterfly that I killed up top. And of course these butterflies are fairly easy, you can kill them in one arrow most times.
And that item up there is from a butterfly also. So. Yeah.
So don't worry, we're picking up evidence here. So that's Ricard's Rapier, and that's like one of about 20 the game can possibly give you. So, I mean, well, you get 2 as items and chests.
Yeah, the game just loves giving you Ricard's Rapiers.
I know, they're not even that good.
So to get out of here, there's this action wall. So you press X in front of it and it'll open up. Remember to pick up the souls. Remember, we don't need to necessarily talk about every item that we pick up because you can see us just picking it up.
Yeah, and if this is the Iron Maiden. Now, this Iron Maiden's going to take you up top. Now, you'll notice that you're going to be... like where we ran through the first time where we're telling you about how to handle the rogue that's behind the door and all that, we're now on the opposite side. So that is why we're saying we'll grab those items later on, because this is that later on. Yeah. So of course, taking care of these rogues now. Now that we're back in the rogues, I can touch on what it is that they drop again. So the rogues have a chance to drop their entire armor set, as well as the thief dagger, the broken thief sword, The archers have a chance to drop the short bow, they can drop flame butterflies, throwing knives, and the archers can drop poison arrows, as well as the ones that use the club can also drop the club.
Yeah.
But you run into the club users like later on in the game.
So also those enemies that are like those guys there, those were the
those would have been the captive undeads, the ones we're talking about that can drop the torches and such.
Yeah, that's what those are.
Yeah, that's what those are.
There's a bunch of enemies in the game that resemble the captive undead, and generally they'll either drop the prisoners set, or I can't remember what the other one is.
But you run into more of these captive undead and like undead crypt and all that. They are torch hollows in this game, basically.
Yeah, basically.
And now you just need to go up top. Now this is a relatively simple fucking area. This is like one rogue up here, and then it's just a drop down back to where you were in the beginning. Oh, it's 2 rogues up here, sorry. But of course this is actually where the tree branch has sort of came in useful, because you'll see from where you're dropping, you can't just drop down to the, like, right down there is the bottom of the cave where you came out, and there's the staircase, so you can go around this way like we did, or you can just go back down and cross the tree.
Yeah.
You've kicked down, which probably would have been the more optimal route, to be honest. I think we just completely forgot the tree was even a thing because we've never used it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I mean, the fact that we've never ever used it kind of shows you that
it's not a big deal. It's not important.
So as you can see, right, so that item over there, we will cover how to get that later on.
Yeah.
But generally, we don't want to get it right now. We are going to Undead Purgatory, which is the optional area of this area, and we want to get that item there when we come back to save on the backtracking. So,
yeah, exactly. And that item there, of course, as you can see, you can get basically back towards the bonfire from there.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem.
So you'll see the reason why we get it on our way back, but we're going to Undead Purgatory just now anyway.
Yeah. Now, there is an enemy coming up that is rather fearsome. These are the kind of rogues that we're talking about, by the way, that can drop the club. It's these kind of guys here that will drop it. Now, the next enemy you're going to see is take on, not this butterfly, it's known as an artificial undead.
Yeah.
Now, these are the big guys that have got the crescent sickles, which they, full moon sickles, which they do have a chance to drop, as well as they can drop nameless soldier souls, they can drop life gems, rotten resin, and dark resin, but that seems to only be for the ones in Harvest Valley from what we've managed to gather.
Yeah.
They might drop it here, but
remember,
it would be more appropriate in Harvest Valley.
These lists that we're going off of are ones that have been given to us by the wiki. We haven't necessarily tested all of these drops because neither do we want to, nor we don't have the time. Exactly. But we have compiled a list of all the drops. So obviously, if some things don't drop, it might be because of a patch or whatever, but this is just what we have at the time.
And of course, the drop list that we have are combinations of the wiki and the official guidebook, which is renowned for being basically garbage. But it did help. It did help.
Yeah. So remember, pick up these items around here. There's like a few things scattered about. Nothing of extreme importance so far, but there's a few items that are good.
because of these enhanced undeads, like they are sort of difficult to take on. So you want to just eliminate all the little the grunts. Yeah, you want to eliminate them so you can take them out no problem.
Generally, a good strategy for the artificial undeads, again, if you're using the fire longsword, is the two-handed pokes. They are incredibly useful against these guys, especially when these guys do their attack thing.
Yeah, that's actually a good attack to bait, by the way. Is like you see them when they raise the sickle above their head. That's actually when you want to start backtracking, because they'll run up and they'll slam both sickles down one after the other, and it's easy to roll back and avoid, and it leaves them wide open to a 3-hit combo with a longsword poke, and you'll kill them.
There you go. That was the second morning star of the game. I mean, you've already got one, but just there's another one.
And this poison moss was also a drop from the butterfly. Now you just caught a glimpse of an item there on the left. You actually have to go up top to get that, so we're going to get that on the way back. Do not worry, we do grab every item here without a doubt.
So we've got more captive undead,
and this is the torturer. Now we've already covered them. You cannot get the sort of halberd or catch pole that they've got, but there are ones just like literally just a few moments ahead of this point in the video that use the whip, and they can drop the bloodied whip. Yeah. So it's just to make you aware of that. Now over here, I believe it's a whip actually.
I think this is a whip, or actually I can't remember what this is, but I think it is a whip.
Notched whip.
I knew it was notched whip. I was gonna say that, but
notched whip is the one that has the bleeding effect.
Yeah.
It's not entirely handy.
I think the bloodied whip also has a bleeding effect.
I just think the bloodied whip's just
maybe a poison effect.
No, that's spotted.
Oh, never mind then.
But anyway, so there's 4 of them up here. So you want to basically bait them out one at a time, and you're going to make use of your range and your short bow.
These guys can and will fuck you up if you get if
all 4 of them come at you. Yeah. It's very difficult now. I mean, they're easy enough to backstab. You can pretty much strafe around them if you keep your shield up, so don't worry about that.
You also want to make sure that you probably want to clear these guys out here because they will chase you all the way up to the boss fog.
You can't get in the boss fog if these guys are chasing you. Like, they actually follow you very quickly compared to other enemies in the game.
Yeah.
Especially for those of you that are doing, like, say, soul level 1 runs, for instance, you want to, like, bait them all up into this little box here and then run for your life, because these guys do pursue you very quickly. Now, this is the third one. There is one on the right, just behind that part of the, just behind that sort of mountainous wall sort of thing on the right side that we can't see from here.
But, I mean, that's fine, because we can just run up to that one anyway at this point. So.
Yeah, and of course that one that we just killed just a moment ago, that was the one that uses the whip. So, of course, there you go. And that catchpole's glitched into the tree and it looks awesome.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, as you can see, these guys are relatively easy. Backstab them, hit them where they're down, and this guy's got his rump in there.
Yeah, he's presenting.
My anus is prepared. Yeah. I mean, when opportunity gives, opportunity receives.
When in Rome.
Or when in Greece.
No, it's when in Rome.
It's the Spartans that were anal.
It's just a... Shut up, right? Okay, anyway, right, so as you can see, this is that area that is above that item that we said. Now, we're not going to get it now, because if we jumped off now, we'd have to run all the way back round. Yeah. So we're going to run up the bridge, kill the boss, and then get it on the way back.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, it saves time. I mean, you can do it whatever way you want, but, you know.
I suppose at this point we can mention, this is actually one of the very few bosses in the game where a summon isn't available.
Yeah.
But instead of a summon, what you do get is to take on the Red Phantom, who has a chance to drop his +3 greatsword, as well as the great shield that he's got that I'm like completely mind blanking on. Orna's.
It is.
It's either Orna or Reeves.
It's Orma. Yeah.
Orma. Yeah. Okay. So this guy's actually very quick. So
yeah, he is,
and he does a
hard.
lot of damage. He's like the red equivalent of not Belclair, Glencore.
Now, to quote Gary, really the best strategy is to try and not get hit. I know it seems very obvious, but you really don't want to get hit because it will hit quite hard.
What you can do is, if you're able to dodge the first attack, you can see the two-handed heavies from the longsword actually stun him. Yeah. And this item here is tricky to get, but it's infinitely worth it. It's Bone Dust. And you know what that is?
And a Fire Seed.
And a Fire Seed as well, so that's handy for Pyromancers. And the Bone Dust is handy for everyone else, because that's going to give us a +2 Estus.
Yeah.
Which is very good considering we're not even at the Iron Keep yet.
Okay, so now we're on to the boss, and this boss is... it is an easy boss, but I actually find it to be that it can be retardedly tricky at times.
Yeah, this boss... there's a method to do this. There's a gimmick at the start.
Right, what you want to do is the first thing, you just want to run straight for the first Necromancer here. There's like 3 bits in the wall that you want to stick into. This one is the first one. You want to just kill the Necromancer. Kill it. Now, your best friend for this boss is a high stability shield, because
Drangleic Shield.
The Drangleic Shield is great if that's the highest one you've got.
Once the Necromancer's dead, then kill the Skellies, because they'll respawn while the Necromancer's there. And just try and keep them out of the little alcove you're in, because the Chariot will actually kill the skeletons for you as well.
Yeah. Hence why you want a high stability shield, because...
And you want to try and avoid getting bled out, like, almost there.
Yeah, because if you've got a low stability shield, they'll just wail into you, break your guard, and then, you're fucked. So there's another alcove that you want to run into, because you can't...
Up on the right.
Yeah, you can't get to the Necromancer in one run from the first one. Or, I mean, you can, but you're going to get run over.
You can iframe through the Executioner's Chariot wheel if you feel like being a little bit risky, but... You would need higher adaptability than what we have at this point to do that. Now, just to quickly touch on it, now the Necromancers that are in here, they can actually drop their hood and their robe.
As you right there. There. Well, like,
possible.
Well, you don't need higher adaptability, but it's...
You do need to be, like, have your timing down. So you want to keep running up. Now, they're on the last door on the right. The easiest way to tell is that there's a lever on the left side that you're going to pull at some point. So that's the last Necromancer. Now you just... Your choice is kill the skeletons yourself, or stay in this little alcove until the Chariot comes round and kills them all for you again, then pull the lever.
Now, these Necromancers are the only enemies in the game that will actually drop the Black Hollow Mage set as well as the Necromancer hood. It has an incredibly small drop chance.
1% according to both wikis.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly tough. They don't respawn either. So what you'll need to do is, if you don't get it, you'll need to just quit and reload. Yeah. So you appear for the boss fog and then take the boss again. Now the Chariot, the horse is very strong against dark. It is neutral to magic, and it is weak to lightning and fire. So once again, your fire longsword showing exactly how amazing it is.
Now personally, I feel the best strategy is to try and keep onto this thing's its left side, so this side here, you want to try and keep to this side. I found it personally to be the preferable side.
Yeah, it's very hard. Like, it seems that the head on the right side sort of hangs more to the side when it does that charge, which is very hard to avoid.
This attack here is the thing where you want to take your, like,
Yeah,
if you are at a range at that thing, it has an incredibly long range. It's dark fog attack.
It's insane. Now be careful. Also be careful behind this thing.
Yeah,
that was perfect.
not only that, its charge attack, as far as I'm aware, is completely unblockable.
It is unblockable. You can't. I tried to block it with a great shield. You can't.
You just can't.
But I mean, the boss is fairly easy. I mean, it does hit hard, but if you get to the side of it, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
And at this point, it is just picking up all the fading souls that are laying around.
Now
the necromancers, we didn't get time to touch on it, but as we've said, they drop the hood and the robe. They also drop the lizard staff, and they have a chance to use to drop amber herb as well. And it is the only place in the game that you can basically farm an NG for the Hollow Mage robe, because no other necromancers in the game respawn.
Not only that, the soul that you get from the horse, you can trade that to Strayed for the shield crossbow or the...
It was... Hold on, I'll bring it up now. It was shield crossbow or... What is it? Chariot lance. Yeah. So, that's pretty much... It's very, very simple. Now, there is one other way to beat the horse boss without actually getting to the lever. Do we have footage of us taking it out at range?
Don't have footage.
We don't.
You can basically just shoot the...
Yeah, you can shoot the chariot as it goes by. Once it gets down to about a third or a quarter of its health, it will stop coming round and it will hang off that little ledge right there. Like, the horse won't make the jump.
Yeah.
And then you just go up, hit it once, and it's over.
We'll get a video of that as its own video.
That'll be a guide extra, most likely.
Because if it is kind of almost harder to do that than it is doing it normally, really. So
you can stand at the boss fog so that none of the skeletons spawn and you're just free to do what you want.
So this guy here is Tichigren. We'll talk about him a little bit more. I think it might actually be the next clip.
It probably will be, but you can't join his covenant now. He's like the leader of the Brotherhood of Blood Covenant. You can't join his covenant yet because you don't have a token of spite. Thankfully, the game actually gives you one later on, which means you can come back here, and of course beating the horse boss is a good thing to do if you want to join a PvP covenant, because Brotherhood of Blood is the PvP covenant.
It is basically the main PvP covenant.
He also sells the red sign soapstone, which is very handy if you want to like join up with fight clubs or just put your summon sign down and Iron Keep and have some PvP without being in a covenant in particular.
Now, obviously the game doesn't give you a token of spite at this point. If you want a token of spite, you can use one of the cracked red eye orbs that you'll obviously have at this point.
You'll have at least one because you picked one up from the bonfire in Huntsman's Copse.
So you can use a cracked red eye orb to go to to invade someone's world. If you kill them, you'll get a token of spite if you win. So right now we are going to Majula, and at this point, obviously we've got a bunch of souls. So basically, we just want to level up, use your your Sublime Bone Dust or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, at this point, we just want endurance and health. That's all we need. Don't need anything else.
Put health up in an increment of 5. Chase it with endurance. That's simple. That's simple. So 5 health, 5 endurance, 5 health, 5 endurance. Just keep doing that until...
At this point, we actually forgot to use Sublime Bone Dust. Don't obviously it's not a huge deal, but remember to use your Sublime Bone Dust.
So this is us back at Tichigren. Now this is later on in the game where we've actually already grabbed the token of spite.
Yeah.
He asks you 4 times if you want to join the fucking covenant because apparently once isn't enough.
We just wanted to show you about him at this stage. We didn't want to, because he is very important, and you can join it at this stage if you so wanted to.
I mean, if you kill Tichigren as well, he's a Malentiable NPC, so you can buy his armor as well as he drops his hood, so you can get that from him too.
You get the Crest of Blood for joining, just saying, and the Crest of Blood might say it has no effect, but it can increase bleed damage on weapons. Now he sells the scythe and something else.
Nara armor robes, I think it was. He also sells the Bone King set after you beat the Skeleton Lords, you'll see later on. He sells the Executioner's set once you reach Drangley Castle. He sells Firestorm, Fire Whip, Great Combustion, and the Delicate String Ring, which improves your odds of being invaded. There is also one other thing about Tichigren, that is if you do join the Brotherhood of Blood, once you're at rank 3 and talk to him, he gives you his scythe and his robes anyway. He gives you his armor set and his scythe, so that saves you killing him and trying to get him from Malentia.
Yeah.
And of course it lets you stay in the Brotherhood of Blood Covenant, no problem.
So remember, if you want to join the Brotherhood of Blood, the rank 1, you need to beat people in the arena, and basically you need to do it in a row. Like if you win, you'll
you get +1, but if you lose, you get -1. Yeah. You can't go lower than 0. You need to keep track of your own stats.
So anyway,
at rank 1, you get the curved twin blade. That's at 50 points. That's at 50 positive points. At rank 2, you get the crescent sickle. That's at 150 positive points, and at 500 positive points, yes, 500,
you get the Great Chaos Fireball,
and of course the Tinchigren set as well, which you get by just talking to him.
So remember, he drops the hood, and you can buy the Scythe and our Alma and the robes off Valencia. So here we are. We're going to get this item now. So this is why
a tricky drop.
Yeah. So this is why
you can't be too slow, or you'll miss. But you can't be too quick, or you'll miss.
Now that's a Faris Lockstone and a token of fidelity. So remember, that token of fidelity gives you access to Targray, which is in the Haid.
Yeah, it's in the not Tower of Flame, the Cathedral of Blue bonfire in Haid City.
So that gives you access to Targray with that token of fidelity.
Yep, you can join the Covenant that is meant for PvP but barely gets any PvP.
So this is us now showing you how you get that item via, if you want to just get the Faris Lockstone, which you want to get because they're very handy.
That parry though. No. Get wrecked, scrub. I think I was like, yeah, we died here trying to make this jump, but you can do it.
Oh, just to make another point quickly, Tinchigren also sells some pyromancies, so if you do want to go a pyromancer, he's the first person that you will get anything decent off of.
I mentioned that he sells Firestorm, Fire Whip, Great Combustion.
Okay, so you
want a plunging attack.
Yeah.
Like, you absolutely need to plunge attack, because if you hit that, you will roll. So that's why we go to the elevated part of it as well, so that you get enough room to jump and plunge.
So now we are getting on with the rest of the area.
We're getting on with the non-optional part of Huntsman's Copse.
Uh-huh.
This is what you need to do to progress further in the game and go to the next area. So, what we're looking at now is we're actually going to go into Huntsman's Copse. The last area was called Undead Purgatory, but we're grouping it in anyway because it is Huntsman's.
Yeah.
Just deal with it. But yeah, it's just taking out these enemies again. This guy glitches out every now and again and just stays there, so...
Oh, I thought it fell off this time. Sometimes it falls off.
So they dropped the torch, as we were saying earlier. They can drop that. They can drop the broken sword, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And now it is back through the advanced undead, rather. These guys. Basically, this game's equivalent of the butchers from DS1.
Yeah, and that was the attack that I was talking about, where that leaves them, fairly well open.
Yeah, and that attack is incredibly difficult to dodge, and it will break your guard. Like, it definitely will break your guard. It does a hell of a lot of stamina damage, as you just seen just a few moments ago. It does a lot of stamina damage, so you want to try and avoid that. Avoid getting hit. And oh, there you go, drop the full moon sickle.
Yeah.
So there you go, we're even getting you some proof of that in this video, which I was completely
not that matters, because again, just to take our word as,
gospel.
Yeah.
If Christians can believe in God, you guys can believe in us.
I mean, at the very least, our word is grounded in reality.
We've got evidence to back up our word. But now there's a few items that we missed, of course, on the way up here, and it was intentional, just so you know.
Yes, because we didn't want to come up this way. Like, this is sort of like this is us into the next part.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Although the paths are very close, it is a fork road that goes in opposite directions. So you want to drop down into this jail cell, and you'll pick up a sorcery, Soul Spear.
This is the first time you'll actually get any high-powered kind of spell whatsoever, which is the reason why we didn't go magic, because up until this point most of the magic you get is shit.
And even then, the stat investment for Soul Spear at this point in the game is too heavy.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. It makes you way too squishy in other areas, especially if you're not using our method to get extra souls, so you'd be retardedly squishy and have pretty much no offensive,
and you would only have 2 soul spears anyway for the sake of being incredibly squishy. It's not really worth it, because they won't do a whole lot of damage until like 40-50 in anyway.
Yeah, and they probably won't even even one shot.
You won't even have the best catalyst in the game at this point either, or the best staff, so it's not worth investing it in really at this point, in our opinion.
However, we feel that if you do want to go a sorcerer class, what your best option is to just level up this way, just do the guide our way, and then just
soul vessel.
Yeah, just soul vessel, because at the end of the game, let's be fair,
it doesn't matter at the end of the game. You're going to soul vessel into the build that you want to use for PvP, or the build you want to use for NG+, and use some of the stuff that you haven't used yet. Exactly. So you may as well go through the game the easiest way possible, and then switch back at the end.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just a sort of more efficient, and it's much easier on you. Granted, there's a bit of a challenge in it. Okay, fair enough. But at this point, you may as well just sort of like follow a rate. Now, you can make that jump.
Yeah.
You can make that jump. I don't know where we put the footage for it, but you can make that jump. It is incredibly difficult. But that's just in case you want to skip nothing.
Yes, in case you just want to run all the way back round again.
Yeah.
So now, I'm sure the thing that's on everybody's mind is this fucking crystal lizard that is coming up.
How the fuck did we get the crystal lizard? Through a shit ton of trial and error.
Yeah.
We got the crystal lizard. It takes you a lot of attempts to get it, but you can do it.
This crystal lizard is pretty much the only thing that you would want magic or lightning spears for. However, you don't need it, and there is techniques to getting it that doesn't require even range.
Yeah, we do want to stress though, it is easier to have like strong ranged magic like lightning spears or anything like that. It is easier. Now what we're doing is we're not even going to go anywhere near the lizard right now because we want to get the undead lockaway key, which is in here, because that's going to introduce us to a new NPC.
Not only that, if you do fail at killing the crystal lizard, and you do definitely want it, it means that you can homeward bone back to the undead lockaway as opposed to homeward boning back to that bit under the bridge.
Yeah, and as opposed to going back to the second bonfire.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, as I said, we're just going to go around this way because this loops back around anyway. Which means that we can get every item in the area, which means that when we're actually going for the lizard, it's just get the lizard, go to the boss. That's all it is. Now, this is Merciless Rowena. Now, she's incredibly difficult for an NPC. She does have the chance to drop the priestess robes, where she can drop the entire priestess set apart from the helm because she doesn't wear that. She also, I'm sure she's the one that drops the cursed bone shield as well.
She can drop the warlock mask.
Very rare, and the warlock mask is also very rare.
And the bone scythe.
Yes, which is also very rare.
Oh, she does drop the cursed bone shield.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, cool. So she's relatively difficult to take on because of the scythe. She's difficult to parry because you actually have to parry the sweet spot on a scythe. So it's best just to try and take her down quickly, like roll backstab or something like that.
Yeah, now remember her drops are incredibly rare, so you might need the bonfire aesthetic.
This next bit will be incredibly difficult if you don't have any range whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because there is a necromancer who you have to jump to get to if you're going melee only, which makes it really difficult. And this is like the exact same necromancers that were in the horse boss room, where you can get the the hollow mage set. It's the exact same.
This is essentially why we suggest having a bow, because really it requires very little investment for a huge amount of utility.
Yeah. And of course, it's just going to take you like 3 or 4 arrows with a short bow at +3 at this point, I think it is, or maybe +4.
We don't upgrade the short bow
until Faris.
Yeah. However, really, it comes to attention that we could upgrade the bow more because we only use the fire sword up until Iron Keep, and then by that point we go to. Yeah. So I mean, you could upgrade the bow if you really wanted to, but you don't really need to.
Wait until Iron Keep anyway, because you want to make sure that you've got the right amount of large shards. Because if you're following us like to the letter, you're following our guide, then the large shards work out perfectly for having, for moving on to the next phase of the build. It means that you've got 2 other weapons that are incredibly high rank as well.
Yeah, and it means you save a little bit in souls as well.
After Iron Keep though, spend your Titanite on what you want. And of course there's another necromancer that doesn't respawn as well. Oh wait, see if that's the Hollow Mage set. I swear to God, I spent hours trying to fucking farm that. If we get the Hollow Mage set by a drop chance, without even Silver Talisman or the fucking Covetous Gold Ring or anything, I swear to God. It won't be, but I swear to God, if it is, then I'm going home.
Foot Soldier Shield.
I am home. And Amber Herb, right. Crisis averted, panic over.
You are home?
I know, I just said that. But yeah, so it's this is, this is technically a shortcut to avoid Merciless Rowena, but you need to go past her to get this shortcut anyway.
Yeah. So,
I mean, you don't actually gain anything from coming through here other than the necromancers, really. So it does look back around, however, to the Undead Lockaway and the Magic Mace.
Interestingly, it gave you the Magic Mace, and we will explain why in like 2 minutes why that's interesting. So here we are, we're coming up to Creighton. Now, Creighton is an NPC that will allow you to get both his armor set and Pate's armor set later on in the game because they hate each other, blah blah blah, they meet up later, it's part of a whole dual quest line.
They're both dicks.
Anyway, the point is, Creighton will drop his steel mask if you kill him, and he's a Melentia-able NPC.
So you can get the rest of his kit from Melentia?
Yeah.
But he gives you it later on anyway, just for fulfilling the quest lines that we're doing right now.
Doing Pate's in his quest means that you can get both their full armor set.
Plus, it requires no actual effort on your part. You just need to talk to them when they get to there. You don't need to summon them for anything. Well, for Pate, you need to summon them for the last giant. But other than that, you don't need to do anything for them. And now at this point, it's lizard time.
Yep.
So we were mentioning the magic mace just a moment ago. Now the reason for that is that the game gives you the magic mace, and if you upgrade that to +1 or 2, there's a potential that you can one-shot the lizard with the 2-handed running attack.
Yeah.
Which is very handy.
But however, it is incredibly hard to do.
Yeah, it takes so many tries. So what we're going to do is a little risky, and you don't want to do this a lot because, like, is this the one where we use the fire arrows?
Yeah, basically, we said never to use the fire arrows, but
this is an exception.
Yeah, because you can, if you do this, and again, if the bow was upgraded slightly more, you could probably one-shot it with one fire arrow. Remember that.
Yeah, this is only +3 bow. The reason why we're using fire arrows as well is because the additional damage from the fire arrow actually flips the lizard and allows you to hit him with a follow-up.
Yeah.
Whereas with the iron arrows, if you hit the lizard, it will just bolt.
Yeah, exactly. So you actually need the fire arrow. For some reason, the fire arrow will stun it, but the normal arrow won't.
I think it's probably to do with the fire thing that's on there. But yeah, this is a +3 short bow. Now, we're using iron arrows to take out these guys, just because we don't want to waste fire arrows on them. You don't want to do this, like, you don't want to use any more than about 3 or 4 of your fire arrows in total. After you've used that and you've still not got the lizard, then it's time for you to try another method, to be honest. But it is difficult to get the lizard, no problem. We're really, really taking our time with this aim, and there you go, flip and boom, that quick.
Yeah, so you want to fire it both as soon as you can, straight away. And we did do this method twice, so this has been the most reliable method that we've found that doesn't require. But if you don't even have a bow,
then sorry, but it's game over. Now there's a little ledge here as well, by the way, that we'll come back to, but we're going to show you how to do it with the magic mace.
So as you can see, it is possible to hit it by doing this.
So we hit it. So if that mace was upgraded once or maybe even twice, that would have been a one shot.
Yeah.
Now that is dropping down naked of everything using the ring of blades only, and that is it. So you can do that. Now, we didn't get a chance to touch on this because of the amount of shit that was going on, but in that cavern where the skeletons were, I just want to touch on the fact the skeletons can drop the falchion, they can drop mailbreaker, foot soldier's shield, the longbow, they can drop titanite shards and alluring skulls. Just so we don't actually miss anything out, although it is later on in the video, it's just so you're aware.
Remember, these videos, I guess, are meant to be viewed as the one full thing.
Exactly.
So now we are off to fight the boss, finally. Oh, another thing to mention is, remember, we got the large club in the last episode. It is potentially, if you use the large club, because of the longer reach and it has the same running attack as the mace.
It actually has better because it definitely flips the lizard, and then you can just hit R2 and pancake it afterwards if it doesn't kill it in one shot. It's just so you're aware that the large club may have been a better alternative. We just completely forgot we had it.
Plus, I don't actually think we've got the stats to use it at this point.
No, because the large club's got a 26 strength requirement. We're sitting on 11.
Yeah.
So, no, we're sitting on 16. We can use it.
Oh, okay.
We just forgot. Now, this boss is a joke. It's so easy. You can hit them as they're coming in. You can backstab them. Look, it took, 3 or 4 swings and we've killed it. Now, you want to take these guys down one at a time. Now, what we're doing here is just weakening them, because you want to take down one skeleton lord and then take down the mob that it spawns, leaving the mage until last.
Yeah.
Because the mage spawns bone wheels, which, to be fair, they are a lot less fearsome than they were in DS1.
But they could still become a bit of a problem.
The fact that she spawns 4 of them, and the fact that they can just coordinate all around you and get you like stun fucked, then stun fucked. That's what you call it with bone wheels, because you can't do anything. Yeah, the scientific term, the medical term.
Now, these things might or might not have a weakness or resistance. Personally,
it doesn't matter.
We don't even give a fuck. They're literally that easy.
Look at the damage you're doing. It's like, if you die to these guys from the lack of damage you're doing, then your build is just wrong in general.
Yeah, something has went horrendously wrong.
Yeah, like, you shouldn't have any problems with this boss at all. Now, we've killed the the one that has the roaring halberd there, which means he's going to spawn like slightly. Oh no, wait, that was the mage. Wow.
Oh, okay. So
we left the mage. We left the roaring halberd guy till last for a change.
Yeah, no, right, that's something to.
I mean, that's fine. Look, the method is, as long as you take them down one at a time.
Yeah.
And then kill the mob, and then kill down the other skeleton lord, you're fine.
I guess I was a bit sloppy here, but clearly, I mean, I'm just showing you that even being sloppy is still very much doable.
It's not a tough boss at all. I wish you would have used the other footage for this one, to be honest. It's a much better example.
I guess so, but
look, you just chewing that. This is what I mean. Like, if that was Dark Souls 1,
half
dead.
health gone.
No, dead, because the bone wheel would have just kept going and going and going and going. Like, we should have died 5 times, 6 times over by now in DS1. It is hilarious how much worse the bone wheels are in this game. You can also backstab them.
Yeah, I know.
Which is stupid.
Now, to mention that the skeleton lord soul that you get from doing this boss can be made into the roaring halberd.
Yeah, it's actually a lot better now. They patched it so it's actually a viable weapon. You don't infuse it, you just use it as it is.
Yeah.
Put stat investment in for the dark section of it, and of course that's used. It's actually quite a good weapon now.
We found that, personally, when I did use the halberd, I really did not like it whatsoever.
They did give it, as I've said in the patch, they did give it quite a nice damage buff.
Yeah.
And it is the longer of the halberds as well. It's one of the longer halberds, which is quite handy. Now, this is us pretty much wrapping up the Copse, because the next thing we're doing is just going to the next area and getting the first bonfire in Harvest Valley.
Yeah.
But we've pretty much got everything. If we've missed an item, once again, tell us, but I'm very confident that we haven't.
So we can annotate
I
it
don't
in.
think we missed anything, to be honest.
Pretty sure we got every single drop, every NPC quest. Generally, I mean, we'll go into more detail with them later on, but yeah.
I'm just looking through this just in case there is anything we missed at all, but it doesn't look like it. We spoke about all the enemy drops. We got all the weapons. We spoke about Falcon. We spoke about Tinchigren. So yeah. That's it.
That should be it.
And Falcon, and we didn't go over what Falcon sells because we've not actually got access to that yet.
Yeah.
Which actually about 2 areas from now. In 3 videos time, like the 3rd video from now, you will see how we handle everything, all the NPCs that we've missed at this point. You'll see how we do it, and it's probably the easiest way to do it because of the materials that the game gives you.
Anyway, so we're going back to Majula at this point. Essentially just to level up now. At this stage, we would appear to be at least
15-20 levels higher.
Well, it says here 55 to 65, so apparently we're definitely 5 levels higher.
Yeah, but you can easily do this area at level 40, level 45 if you really want to.
I mean, it's not a hard area at all.
Someone in Delinquent Muse's stream managed to do this entire area at soul level 10. Because they just ran through it. They only wanted the red sign, that was it, and they managed to get all the way through to SL10. It's hilarious. So there's a lot of soul packets on us now because of all of this shit.
Yeah.
And of course, we've not burned the bone dust, but you've done that already. Hopefully you've done that already. If not, then you can burn it right now when we do.
Yeah.
But we're going to get a huge soul gain because of all the soul packets, as well as we beat a boss. So there's that.
Yeah, so this should take us up to being probably about at least levels. I think it's 72 we end up on.
It's stupidly high compared to what the recommended level is.
Which means we've got 9 levels in one area.
Yeah. 9 levels in one area from 2 bosses.
Yeah, which is really good.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see when we level up here. So maybe we go even further than I thought.
Yeah, we could do it.
Oh, we get to 75, so that's 10 levels higher than the highest level the guide recommends.
Yeah, so once again, just putting forward the point that the covetous silver ring is amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, all the soul drops we're getting as well from the Traveller's Hood. So that's quite handy too.
Oh yeah, true. So that's it for the video. Again, if you want to watch the Lost Bastille episode, then click the left link.
No, part 2 of the Lost Bastille episode, click the left link.
And if you want to click Harvest Valley, then click the right link.
Once it's uploaded, of course.
So again, if you want to support our channel, there's a donation link down below. But again, a like, comment, subscribe is plenty of support you can give us.
And a view is the view is the least amount of support you can give us, and that's still much more than we would even hope for you guys to do.
It's true.
And of course, links on screen, follows on Facebook and Twitter. Keep up to date with us. We're on them all the time.
Yep.
And of course, the Twitch streams, definitely make one of them. As ever, we get to react with you guys. Like, we can interact with you guys in real time, which is much better than waiting an hour or so for a YouTube comment to come through on the alerts, because we know how handy fucking Google is at fucking everything up.
And plus the streams are hilarious. And
oh yeah, best chat on Twitch, like bar none.
I mean,
bar none.
Not even like being like big-headed or whatever, but it really is good.
It's the funniest chat, like without a doubt. But we're gonna leave you guys with like the rest of this outro.
Hope you enjoyed that. The next one. Hope you found it entertaining. Hope you found it informative, and we'll see you next video.
See you guys.
Bye.